Good morning, family. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Today, as a topic and title and focus, is going to be an abundance of counselors, their safety. I came up with that title based on Proverbs 11th chapter 14 verse, and it says, "In the abundance of counselors, there is safety," and that comes off of where there is no wise guidance, the people fall, but in the abundance of wise and godly counselors, there is victory or safety. And um, the reason I chose that today is because the Lord put in my heart that I have a mission. I mean, He gave me a mission to not only share what I've learned over the past 15 months with whoever will listen, in regards to the good news that's expressed in the Bible, but He also gave me a mission to know my platforms. Right now, I'm out on bail, $100,000 bond. I'm still facing trial on the charges that I have, and I feel that I need y'all's help, helping me make a decision. So to cut to the chase, um, I feel that the Lord allowed me to be put in this situation at large, but being put in Rockingham County Jail, he allowed me to not only see what's going on in there, but to be a voice for those that come and go in this system actually, and don't either have a voice, don't have the family support system, or are scared. And one of the things that the Lord's always given me is um, a heart that is in tune to speaking up, speaking my mind, being comfortable and confident, as well as competent speaking what I believe. I mean, and that's one of the things that I feel that He's been preparing me all my life, and I had to go through this season of life to be able to obtain the Christ-like motive for my actions going forward. So, with that being said, the decision that I need y'all's help with is in my area, there's a local news, Channel 2 News, and they have a segment called Two Wants to Know. And, it's built to be that voice for, people where you can reach out with concerns or issues or things that's going on in your community. They'll do some investigation on it. And, they'll not only get it publicized, but they'll also get the facts. That's one of the things, they're bent on facts. And that platform of being on the news gets more people involved. So, what I've been feeling even before getting released is the situation that led me to being charged. I feel that it was meant for me to speak up and to make it known that the hospital that my fiance, died at, not only is doing me wrong in this situation, but I'm sure that they've done other people wrong. It's just fortunately for me, I have a background in medicine. I have a background working in critical care, ICUs, emergency rooms, and dealing with the people that are in hospitals. So I was able to know that something's not right in this situation. But had I not, I could be sitting in prison right now doing 17 and a half years because it looked like I was guilty based on all of the factors and the evidence and everything. And although my case isn't finished, I'm confident that I will be vindicated in trial. So, that being said, I wanted to know your thoughts. I mean, do you think I should get the news involved, or do you think I should just keep it under the radar as it is? So, let me give you some backstory. So, when I first, I had two attorneys. The first one, he told me right away once I was charged, delete all my social media accounts. This is going to be a high profile case. Yada, yada, yada. So I went on, what he told me, thinking that it was going to be a high profile case because not only am I a registered nurse, but I also was employed at that hospital. And right after she passed away in the hospital, like literally within hours, they fired me. So in hindsight, I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to get my access to her records and all of that stuff. Trying to squash that so that I'm not an employee. I can't log in and see stuff or talk about the situation with other employees at the hospital. So I understand what their tactics and their tricks are, but I understand how the system works a little better now than 15 months ago. So just to bring you guys up to speed a little bit, 95 to 98% of all cases in the United States generally end in a plea bargain. I don't know how many of you listening are familiar with the court system or anything, but I'm pretty sure that if you had any cases, whether it was a speeding ticket or something more serious, that unless you went to trial, they came up with some plea bargain that allowed that case to, be dealt with. And the reason for that is it's cost effective. It's not, burdening the state. It's a way for not only the prosecution to have a win and get a check mark and say, okay, we resolved this case, but it's also a way for the defense to get a check mark and say, hey, I got you a better deal than going to prison and getting the worst case scenario. So, while I was in there, there was a law book and I read it. I familiarized myself with the process, and I know that's, how it always goes. But in this situation, because of the charges and because of my innocence, I'm not taking any type of plea bargain. So I'm prepared and I'm comfortable going to trial and allowing not only the truth to be made evident, but also to get true justice for Murray. So if I take any sort of plea that is going to make it appear that I was guilty of what was charged, even if it's at a lower, um, level crime. And the fact that the hospital gave her a medication that ultimately caused her death is never going to be made known. So, um, when I was in there, my attorney came. He came actually with a plea bargain, and as I said, I had two attorneys. So the first attorney, within days of me being turning myself in and being incarcerated, he came to me and offered me. Said the DA had offered a 7-year plea bargain. So the charge that I have is second degree murder, and that charge actually carries 17 and a half years in prison. So within days, he came and all said the DA's offered me 7 years before any evidence or before, we go any further, take it or leave it. Of course, I said leave it because I'm not guilty. So several months later, after getting a more experienced attorney, a better trial attorney. The first attorney was good. He gave me some great information, but he didn't have the experience in trials, and I already knew from get go I was going to trial, not taking a plea bargain. So, my family was able to secure me a more skilled attorney, and see, I think I seen him a couple times. We discussed, some bits and pieces of the case, and then unfortunately, when you're locked up in jail, you don't get much communication with your attorneys because they are busy. You're you can't talk about um, your case over the telephones because it's recorded. It's just you're so restricted to your research abilities, to your communication abilities. So pretty much, the way it's designed is for you to sit there and become interested in taking a plea bargain. So it's probably about 6, 7 months after being incarcerated, my new attorney came out of the blue and he's like, "Hey, I got a plea bargain for you. The DA's offering you 3 to 5 years. You've already been in here for 6 months. You only got to do like 18 months, yada, yada, yada." Psst, man, that would have been a sweet deal if I was guilty. And the other inmates in the pod, when I told them about, what the plea bargain was, they were like, "Oh man, you came out of here smelling like roses and all of that good stuff." But no, I'm not smelling like roses because I'm not guilty. So I'm not interested in taking any sort of bargain, even if it's something really sweet, because that, as I said, is not going to allow true justice to be made known. So While I was in there, I already knew my defense. I had to sit on it, keep my tongue bit, wait, do a little bit more waiting while I was waiting for my attorney to come see me. I wrote letters. I tried to stay proactive. I definitely read my Bible, and I, you know, kind of practiced the law portion of what was available in there on the tablet. They have a little law resource, and then that book that was available. So fast forward to 15 months later, I get bailed out. Now I'm out and I have full access to not only the computer, but to the podcast. So, with that being said, now I'm wondering if, since for the past 15 months they had me stuck away in a box, and it isn't a high profile situation because it feels like my attorney, as well as the district attorney, are trying to resolve this in a plea. The evidence is weak. That's why the plea bargains have come down so far. My attorney, even though, I'm saying, like I said, he doesn't want to go to trial because it's time consuming, it's not cost effective for the amount he was paid, so on and so forth. So, I'm at a point where I feel that to get true justice in this situation, that I need to speak up. I need to not only speak up about the hospital and what they done, and that, the fact that I've been sitting there knowing they're guilty, I'm saying, but I know they're never going to speak up and say, okay, hey, our medication error is what killed her. So, you know, they have moved on. But me, I'm sitting here in jail. And if I didn't know what I know about medications and the condition that she had, I would have took a plea bargain and I would be in prison right now. But the Lord designed it to where me, I've been a nurse for 12 years. I've worked in critical care as a travel nurse. So I've worked in multiple level hospitals, level one trauma centers, multiple different specialties, to where I'm very familiar with the medication that she was given. And I feel that because of that, I was equipped with everything that I need before this even happened to have a decision of, do I put my skin on the line, my freedom on the line to get true justice for Murray, or do I take a plea bargain to have this all be over with and done with and behind me? Even though, it's a high level felony, even the plea bargain that they were trying to get me to take is still, it's gonna change my life forever and not for the better. So I'm reaching out to you, fam, to see, what did you think? Do I reach out to News 2? Do I get them involved to where they can do some investigation on the situation? And not just that, they can be in the courtroom when I go to court. So that way, you know, everything, everybody, the judge, the DA, my attorney has to, you know, act above standard, not just, treating me like a number. And okay, hey, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna talk some legal mumbo jumbo that you don't understand, and then we're gonna send you back to your box for another however many months until you get to the point where, one, either you've served the amount of time that we're going to plead you out to. And once you accept that plea bargain, they're going to make it look so appealing, because I've seen it happen to where, hey, you take this plea bargain today, you go home. Yeah, you go home because you've already served the freaking time. And I'm not trying to do that. One, I wasn't trying to stay in there, but hey, my hands were tied. I'm saying I had a high bail. My bail was started off as $1 million, but because of the weakness in the case, my bail was reduced to 90% down to 100,000. And fortunately, I was able to be bailed out by my brother. So now that I'm out, I know from what I read in the law book that generally the defense is going to try to delay the case, delay the case, delay the case to allow the evidence, the police officers, the toxicology staff, all of these different people to get weak, to get forgetful, so on and so forth. But in the meantime, here I am stuck in the house on house arrest. I can't go anywhere. I still have this charge over my head, and it's messing with my employability, because if I go to apply for a job, I have a crazy charge, and, not too many people are gonna hire me. So, I'm still on the hook to where, if something happens, hey, I can be back in jail with my bail revoked. I mean, it's, just kind of a messed up situation, but I'm willing to continue to lean into the Lord, continue to pray on it, and continue to do what I'm being guided to do. But I don't want my decisions to be Alex's decisions. I want them to be the best decision. And the Bible tells me, in an abundance of counselors, there is victory or safety, whichever translation of the Bible you look at. But either way, it clearly states that in an abundance of counselors is a good thing. So I'm reaching out to you guys, and I hope that you guys can help me not only come up with the answer that does make the most sense, but also share this with others so that they can, give their input. Maybe somebody out there has been through a similar situation, but I know in the abundance of counselors, there is victory, there is safety, and it makes sense. I've always kind of been the person that, hey, I'm going to run this by you before I make a decision. And this is a big decision, even though I am pretty confident that at the end, when it's all said and done, I will be vindicated. I will be acquitted. Yes, there's all sorts of things that could happen in the meantime because, mind you, the hospital corporation that I would be going against or I would be pointing a finger at is a big corporation, and I've watched enough TV. I'm a conspiracy theory minded person to where anything could happen, and so I think the safety would probably come in making it known that, hey, I'm up against a giant, kind of like a David and Goliath type situation, and the more people that are aware of it, maybe the more people that can speak out and the more people that will know. So I appreciate your time, fam. I mean, this is where this podcast is evolved from my time in jail, and I want to bring you along the journey. I mean, with me as I go through court, as I go through trial, as I get vindicated. And, I may lean on you from time to time to, get your feedback, get your input. And if anybody out there has any good resources that maybe I don't know about, hit me on either Instagram, YouTube site. You can check me on Twitter. Um, whatever platform is comfortable for you, I'm available and I'm definitely open to taking any advice. So I thank you in advance for any assistance that you will give and can give in this matter. And God bless and have a good day.